Hey Swapaholics, here is the full story version of that Kari Vmon Digimon body swap story I did a while ago. It starts in three, two, one.
The afternoon sun filtered through the blinds of the Motomaya apartment, casting thin beams of light across the cluttered room. Dave lay sprawled on his bed, oblivious to the quiet hum of the Digivice resting on his desk. Kari, sitting on the floor, absent-mindedly ran her fingers through her hair as she chatted with Vmon, who sat comfortably across from her. It was a typical day in the human world until it wasn't. Kari's Digivice suddenly emitted a strange, pulsating glow. Before either of them could react, a digital egg materialized between them, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light.
Whoa, what's that?
Davis exclaimed, leaning forward to get a better look. Vmon tilted his head, curiosity peaked.
It looks like a DG egg, but I've never seen one like this before.
Kari reached out cautiously, her fingertips brushing against the egg's smooth surface. The moment she touched it, when the light faded, everything seemed normal at first. As Kari blinked, her vision slowly adjusting. But something was off, she felt. Different. Her body felt strange, her movements unfamiliar. She looked down at her hands, or rather the small blue paws that had replaced them. Her heart raced as she took in the sight of Vmon's form where her own should be. At the same time, Vmon stared wide-eyed at the reflection in the nearby mirror. He saw Kari's face looking back at him, her brown eyes wide with shock.
Kari, is that you?
He asked, with him being weirded out by the sound of Kari's voice. Kari, now in Vmon's body, nodded slowly.
I think we've swapped bodies.
Davis, blissfully unaware of the internal chaos unfolding, laughed.
You guys are acting weird today. Did you eat something strange?
Kari, now Vmon, tried to steady her breathing.
Davis, this is serious. Something happened when I touched that egg. We're stuck like this.
But Davis just shrugged, still oblivious.
You guys are probably just pulling a prank. I'm going to grab a snack. Want anything?
Before either of them could respond, he was out of the room, leaving the two in their newfound predicament. Vmon, in Kari's body, felt a surge of excitement.
This could be fun.
He exclaimed, grinning widely.
I've always wondered what it's like to be a human, and now I get to experience it firsthand.
Kari, on the other hand, was less enthusiastic.
Vmon, we need to figure out how to fix this. We can't stay like this forever.
But Vmon wasn't listening. He was already plotting how he could use this opportunity to impress Gatomon, and maybe have a little fun at Kari's expense. The thought of embarrassing her in front of their friends, of doing things she would never dare to do, sent a thrill through him. Kari, sensing his intentions, tried to warn him.
Vmon, don't you dare do anything that could.
But before she could finish, Davis burst back into the room, a bag of chips in hand.
Hey, Kari, I was thinking.
Vmon, in Kari's body, cut him off.
Sure, whatever, Davis.
He said, his tone dismissive and uncharacteristic of the real Kari. Davis raised an eyebrow, surprised by her abruptness, but shrugged it off.
Okay, then let's just hang out.
As the afternoon wore on, Kari could only watch in horror from inside Vmon's body as her own began to act in ways she never would. Vmon was clearly enjoying himself, and Kari knew she had to figure out how to reverse the swap before things got out of hand. As the school project wore on, Vmon suddenly came up with an excuse to leave. He grabbed Gatomon and said,
Oh, sorry, Davis. Got a text from my mom. Need to go home. Bye.
and sprinted out the door. Kari just stood there in shock as her body ran off.
Oh no, that can't be good.
She said under her breath. Later at Kari's house, Gatomon awoke to Vmon staring at himself while doing poses and looking at his body and said,
Oh, hey, Vmon. So you're the one that ended up in Kari's body.
Vmon, stop.
How did you?
Know about the swap, that was my doing. If you never noticed, she has a lot of suppressed emotions to the point she is dating the complete Gary. Do you otherwise notice, TK? Ty and I touch an eye into releasing the swap peg. He will switch back after it recharges.
Vmon then responded.
Why is that a bad thing? She's kind of a Mary Sue herself, isn't she?
There is a huge difference between having no flaws and suppressing one's dark emotions. Do you not remember the Dark Ocean incident? DJ Chahulu could never have transported her there. She didn't have any suppressed anger or other dark emotions. This incident is just the thing to get all the walls of bull from around her heart and express those negative thoughts before her heart blows up.
Vmon, still admiring himself in front of the mirror in Kari's body, struck another pose, his hands on his hips, a smirk plastered across his borrowed face.
I've gotta admit, being a human feels kinda awesome.
He muttered.
Awesome or not, you'll get her into serious trouble if you don't quit it.
Gatomon said, folding her arms.
Do you have any idea what you're doing?
Vmon spun around, his excitement not dimmed by Gatomon's warnings.
Relax, Gatomon. Kari can handle anything, right? I mean, she's Kari.
He gave a half-hearted laugh, but Gatomon wasn't amused.
She's going to kill you when this is over.
Gatomon said, sighing. Meanwhile, Kari, still trapped in Vmon's body, was racing toward her house. Her little blue feet pounded the pavement, but her short legs weren't getting her far fast enough.
I have to stop him before he does something that ruins my life.
She huffed.
Why, of all Digimon, did it have to be Vmon in my body?
Her mind raced as she thought of all the things Vmon could mess up. There was no way she could let him run wild, especially not around Davis. Vmon's carefree attitude combined with Davis's cluelessness was a recipe for disaster. She finally arrived and burst into her house, her heart sinking when she saw Vmon still in her body, sitting on her bed, giggling to himself.
Vmon, what have you done?
Kari shouted, though it came out in Vmon's higher-pitched voice. Vmon grinned, giving a mock salute.
Just, trying out some new things. Check it out.
He pointed to the mirror where Kari's reflection stared back, only now her hair was a bright electric blue. Kari gasped.
You dyed my hair.
Yup, cool. I thought you could use a little color.
You're ruining my life.
Kari shrieked, storming up to him. She looked at Gatomon, pleading.
Help me out here.
Gatomon just shrugged.
Told you he'd get carried away.
Vmon, now looking a bit defensive, stood up, hands on Kari's hips.
Come on, Kari, lighten up. I'm just having a little fun. Besides, I think it suits you.
Kari felt her frustration building.
Vmon, this isn't funny. This is serious. You can't just go around making decisions for me.
Vmon, still undeterred, grabbed a glass of soda from the desk and took a long sip.
Sugary. I never knew how sweet human drinks could be. I can't handle this stuff. How do you even stop drinking this?
Kari's hands clenched into fists.
Stop drinking that. You're going to make me sick.
Dad!
Vmon waved her off, setting the empty glass aside.
It's just one soda.
Gatomon, amused at the spectacle, leaned back against the bedpost.
I'm just waiting for the moment when you realize how deep you've dug yourself. Vmon!
Suddenly, there was a knock at the door, and Davis barged in without waiting for an answer.
Kari, you gotta help me. Oh, hey, Vmon.
He blinked, confused for a moment, before shaking it off.
Kari, something really weird is going on. My Digivice has been acting all crazy. And what happened to your hair?
Vmon smirked.
Oh, just trying something new. Pretty cool, right?
Davis blinked. Not quite sure what to make of it, but being Davis, he just shrugged.
Sure, I guess. Anyway, can we talk about...
Kari, desperate to stop Vmon from digging his hole any deeper, jumped in.
Davis, that's not me. I'm Kari. That's Vmon. There was a swap. He and I.
Yeah, good one, Vmon.
Davis said with a laugh, patting the little blue Digimon on the head.
You and Kari always come up with the weirdest pranks.
I'm not joking.
Kari, still in Vmon's body, growled. Vmon, unable to resist one last bit of chaos, turned to Davis with a devilish grin.
You know what? I've been meaning to tell you something. Vmon's way better than I'll ever be. He's stronger, faster, and way cooler. Don't you think?
Kari gasped.
Vmon, stop it.
Davis scratched his head, clearly baffled.
Kari, are you feeling okay? You're acting kinda weird today.
Gatomon snickered from her spot, enjoying the show.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Vmon winked at Kari.
Don't worry, Kari. Everything's under control.
Deep down, Kari knew things were spiraling. She could only hope that this DG egg would recharge soon, before Vmon got them into even more trouble, as Davis dragged Kari, still in Vmon's body, out of the room. She could only throw a desperate look over her shoulder at Vmon, who was left behind in her body.
Vmon, don't you dare do anything else. I swear, if you ruin my reputation.
Davis, blissfully unaware of the swap, kept pulling her along, saying something about needing her Digivice expertise for some new mystery. Kari had no choice but to go with him, all while silently cursing her bad luck. Back in her room, Vmon looked around, now totally unsupervised. He chuckled to himself, glancing at the mirror.
Well, since I've got the place to myself, why not try out some of Kari's wardrobe? I bet she's got all kinds of cool stuff in here.
He opened Kari's closet, flipping through her neatly organized clothes. Most of it was casual or soft pastel colors, comfy top skirts and dresses. But Vmon quickly spotted a pair of baggy jeans and a leather jacket hidden at the back. His eyes lit up.
Now this is more like it.
He stripped off the clothes Kari had been wearing, tossing them onto the floor with reckless abandon. First, he pulled on the jeans, surprised at how well they fit. Then he grabbed a tank top and threw the leather jacket over it, finishing the look with a pair of combat boots. Admiring himself in the mirror, Vmon struck a pose.
Wow, I look like a total badass.
He ran a hand through Kari's newly dyed blue hair and smirked.
She's always going for the sweet, good girl look, but she pulls off the delinquent style way too well.
Then he spotted a fedora on the top shelf. With a mischievous grin, he grabbed it and tilted it on Kari's head at a slight angle. The effect was perfect. Kari now looked like a punk rock tomboy who didn't care what anyone thought. After taking the hat off, Vmon gave an appreciative whistle.
Man, she could totally pull off both guys' and girls' clothes. Who knew Kari had this much style hidden away?
Just then, Gatomon reappeared at the doorway, eyes widening as she took in Kari's new look.
Wow, you're really going all out, huh? I didn't expect you to turn her into a delinquent.
Vmon flashed her a grin.
What can I say? Kari needed a little edge. Do you like it?
Gatomon rolled her eyes but smirked.
It's definitely a new look for her. But aren't you worried about getting caught?
Nah.
Vmon said, striking another pose in front of the mirror.
Besides, when we switch back, she can just blame it all on me.
Gatomon, always up for some chaos, raised an eyebrow.
So what now, Kari? Going to scare off some of her friends with your new look?
Vmon leaned back against the bedpost, crossing his arms.
Actually, I had something else in mind.
He shot Gatomon a playful murk.
Wanna go on a date?
Gatomon blinked, momentarily surprised.
A date? With you? In Kari's body?
She tilted her head, clearly intrigued by the idea.
Huh. You know what? Sure. This could be fun. Let's see how many people you can confuse today.
Vmon pumped his fist in triumph.
Yes! This is gonna be awesome.
Together, they left the apartment, Vmon now strutting confidently down the street in Kari's newly delinquent outfit. Heads turned as they passed, people whispering about Kari's sudden style change. But Vmon just grinned wider. As they walked toward the park, Gatomon rotted beside him, clearly amused by the attention they were getting.
So what's your plan? Just walk around and let people stare at Kari acting completely out of character?
Vmon shrugged, adjusting to the hair barrettes on his head.
Nah, I was thinking maybe we could grab some food. Maybe ice cream or something. I want to see how far I can push this without anyone figuring it out.
Gatomon smirked.
Hyman, let's see how long you can keep this charade up before Kari finds out and murders you.
Vmon laughed.
Hey, you're the one who said this would be good for her. I'm just helping her loosen up a little.
They continued on, Vmon in Kari's body swaggering like he owned the world, while Gatomon watched in amused silence, ready to enjoy the chaos that was sure to follow. As the sun set and the city began to quiet down, Vmon and Gatomon strolled through the park. Vmon, still strutting in Kari's body with her rebellious new look, had caused quite a stir. They had enjoyed ice cream, confused plenty of people, and Vmon was loving every second of it. Gatomon glanced at the sky, her ears twitching.
You know it's almost midnight. Shouldn't you be worried about how this will all end?
Vmon, grinning from ear to ear, adjusted the barrette in his hair.
Nah, Gatomon. What's the worst that could happen? When we swap back, Kari will just yell at me for a bit, but she'll get over it.
Gatomon smirked.
You're way too confident for someone who dyed her hair electric blue and turned her wardrobe upside down.
Meanwhile, across town, Kari, still in Vmon's body, was racing back toward the park. She had spent hours trying to convince Davis that she wasn't pulling some elaborate prank, but he had been as clueless as ever. She was exhausted, with her short blue legs struggling to keep pace.
I can't believe Vmon's gotten away with this for so long.
Tari muttered under her breath.
He's probably ruined my entire reputation by now.
As midnight approached, Kari felt a strange energy building. Her Digivice tucked into Vmon's pocket began to glow faintly. She didn't know what it meant, but she wasn't taking any chances.
I have to find him before this swap becomes permanent or something.
She gasped, running faster. Just ahead, Vmon and Gatomon were sitting on a park bench, finishing their ice creams. Vmon licked his lips, sighing constantly.
Man, being a human is awesome. Why didn't anyone tell me humans get to eat so much amazing food?
Gatomon chuckled.
Enjoy it while you can. I have a feeling Kari's not going to be so generous with her body next time.
Suddenly, out of nowhere, Kari appeared, panting heavily.
Vmon, there you are.
Vmon turned lazily, still not phased.
Oh, hey, Kari! How's life in my awesome body?
Kari stomped toward him, furious.
It's awful. My legs are too short, my arms can barely reach anything, and
She pointed accusingly at her own body.
you're not my hair blue?
Vmon scratched the back of his head sheepishly.
It looks cool though, right?
Kari didn't have time for this.
We need to switch back right now, before something worse happens.
Gatomon, amused by the whole ordeal, chimed in.
How exactly are you planning on swapping back?
Kari crossed her arms.
I don't know, but we need to figure it out.
Suddenly, her Digivice started glowing even brighter, causing both Kari and Vmon to pull. They exchanged confused looks before faint hum filled the air. Gatomon's eyes widened.
Guys? I think something's about to happen.
Before they could react, a surge of energy burst from Kari's Digivice, sending a shockwave through the park. Both Vmon and Kari were caught off guard, stumbling toward each other, and in a classic, cartoonish moment, their heads collided with a loud thunk.
Ouch! My
My
brain!
head!
They both shouted in unison, rubbing their foreheads. But just as quickly as the pain registered, a familiar sensation washed over them. The world seemed to flip upside down for a moment, and when they opened their eyes, they were back in their own bodies. Kari blinked, quickly touching her face, her hair, and breathing a huge sigh of relief.
I'm me again!
She exclaimed. Vmon, now back in his little blue Digimon body, grinned.
And me too! That wasn't so bad, was it?
Kari shot him a glare.
Wasn't so bad! You dyed my hair, tried on my clothes, and went on a date with Gatomon.
Vmon laughed nervously.
Yeah, about that.
Kari, frustrated for words, took a deep breath and ran her hand through her newly dyed blue hair.
What am I going to do about this?
Gatomon, still smirking, offered a suggestion.
Well, you could always tell people it was just a phase.
Kari groaned.
You are not helping.
Vmon, trying to lighten the mood, gave her a thumbs up.
Hey, look on the bright side. You learned what it's like to be me, and I learned what it's like to be you. We're closer than ever, right?
Kari narrowed her eyes.
Vmon, if you ever pull something like this again...
Yeah, I get it.
Vmon chuckled, raising his hands in surrender.
No more body swaps. Pinky promise.
Kari sighed, her frustration slowly ebbing. She couldn't stay mad at Vmon forever, even if he had made a mess of things.
Fine, but I'm going to have to explain this to everyone tomorrow, and if Davis says one thing about my hair, I'm blaming you.
Vmon grinned.
It's a deal.
As they made their way back home, the stars twinkling overhead, Kari couldn't help but shake her head in disbelief. She had survived a day in Vmon's shoes. Literally. And while she was grateful to be herself again, she had a sneaking suspicion that this wouldn't be the last time Vmon got her into trouble. But for now, at least she could rest easy even if her hair was still electric blue. The bright morning sun filtered through the trees as Kari sat quietly, her back against a tree, knees tucked to her chest. The air was fresh, but the weight of the last few days still pressed on her mind. Swapping bodies with Vmon had been an overwhelming experience. What had started as a confusing and uncomfortable situation had become a humbling journey, forcing her to see the world through his carefree yet loyal eyes. As the day moved forward, Kari found herself reflecting on what she learned. She'd always been quick to empathize with others, but being literally in Vmon's shoes had taught her more than she expected. His boundless optimism, simple way of seeing the world, and unflinching loyalty to Davis had at first seemed naive, almost childish. But now she could see how those qualities made Vmon special. He might not always be the sharpest, but he was honest about who he was, and that was something Kari had come to appreciate deeply. She glanced at Vmon, now back in his rightful form, goofing around with Davis, and couldn't help but smile. They were a mess, those two, but they were also unshakable. Kari had always been able to lean on TK, a responsible one, but in this strange experience, she had learned that it wasn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It was about being genuine. As noon approached, Kari felt a strange sense of calm settle over her. She wandered away from the others, trying to process the final pieces of her thoughts. She hadn't spoken to TK yet. After the swap, things had felt a little strained. TK had been awkward, avoiding her gaze like he was trying to suppress something. Kari knew she needed to confront him. Later that afternoon, the moment finally came. Kari found TK sitting by the campfire alone, gazing off into the distance. She approached quietly, her thoughts gathered but emotions still bubbling under the surface. She needed to say this.
TK,
She started, sitting down next to him.
we need to talk.
TK shifted uncomfortably. He had a feeling this was coming.
Yeah, I guess we do.
He replied, trying to keep his tone even. Kari took a deep breath.
You know, this whole swap thing wasn't just about learning to appreciate Vmon's perspective. It made me realize something about you. You're always trying so hard to be the perfect guy, the responsible one, the leader. But I think you hide a lot behind that. You hide your frustration, your anger. You don't have to pretend to be some Gary Stu all the time.
TK blinked, a little taken aback.
I'm not pretending.
He said defensively.
But that's the thing, TK.
Kari said softly but firmly.
You don't need to keep it together all the time. You have your own struggles, and it's okay to show them. It's okay to let people see that you're human too.
TK clenched his jaw, clearly holding back something.
I just didn't want to.
Didn't want to what? Show that you're not perfect.
Kari interrupted.
TK, no one expects you to be.
There was a long silence between them, and finally TK sighed, his shoulders slumping as the tension left him.
I guess I have been trying too hard. I didn't realize how much I was bottling up.
Kari smiled gently, patting him on the shoulder.
See, you don't have to do that. We all have our issues. I learned that from Vmon of all people. He's just him. He doesn't overthink it, and it makes him stronger in his own way.
They sat in silence for a while longer before Kari stood up, feeling like a weight had been lifted.
I'm glad we talked,
She said.
but I need to go do something.
As she walked away, she spotted Davis and Vmon a little further off, rough housing as usual. The moment she saw them, a small laugh escaped her lips. They were ridiculous, but they were honest. And at the end of the day, that was more than enough. Just as she was about to head back to the group, Davis bounded up to her, a goofy grin on his face.
Hey, Kari, are you okay? You've been kinda serious all day.
Kari raised an eyebrow and smirked.
Oh, I'm fine. Just thinking.
Davis tilted his head, a bit confused by her cryptic answer, but didn't push. He opened his mouth to say something else, but Kari cut him off with a knowing look.
Come on, Davis.
She said with exasperation creeping into her tone.
You might be a himbo, but at least you're honest about who you are, unlike Mr. Pretends to be a Gary Stu to hide anger issues over here.
Davis blinked, looking even more puzzled now.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Before Kari could explain, TK wandered over, a sheepish expression on his face. Davis pointed to him.
Hey, what did TK do?
Kari let out an exaggerated sigh, rubbing her temples.
I'll explain it later. Now, move it. We've got work to do.
She marched ahead, Davis following closely behind, still thoroughly confused, but trusting Kari as always. Vmon railed after them, happy to be back in his own skin. And TK stayed back for a moment, finally feeling like he could breathe a little easier. And with that, the group moved forward less perfect, more understanding and stronger than ever.